There's been a big potential breakthrough in cancer treatment.
An experimental vaccine could reduce the chance of the cancer returning or spreading.
This is the first ever evidence for mRNA technology in cancer that it can work.
Is basically the first piece of good news in a while.
If it all pans out, it might be important not only for melanoma, but for other cancers as well.
Yes, it is being called a major breakthrough in the treatment of cancer, a potential watershed. It is the news that a personalised vaccine given in combination with a drug has stopped skin cancer returning in patients during a trial. Now, the vaccine was given to people with high-risk melanoma. It's a type of skin cancer after they had surgery. The key finding from early results was that the jab helped patients to stay cancer-free for longer. But who could ultimately benefit from this treatment, and what is melanoma? Here's our global health correspondent, Dominic Hughes.
So melanoma is a type of aggressive skin cancer caused by exposure to ultraviolet light. It can spread from the skin to other parts of the body, and often people may notice a new mole, for example. That's often how it appears on the skin. That mole could be an odd shape, a mix of colours. It might be itchy, it might bleed a bit, or it changes over time. So this trial then was looking at people who had what's called high-risk melanoma. It was what's called a phase 3 trial, so quite advanced down the route of testing this new drug. And it involved more than 1,000 patients who had this high-risk stage 2, 3 or 4 melanomas, meaning they range from either having large tumours in a specific area to cancers that are spread to other parts of the body.
So those are the people who took part in that trial that has attracted so much attention. But what's actually been achieved? Here's Dominic again.
So this vaccine is called Intismerin. It was given in combination with an immunotherapy drug called Keytruda, which is already used in cancer treatment. So compared with taking Keytruda on its own, the drug companies say that taking the drug and the vaccine together significantly increased the time that patients remained cancer-free and reduce the risk of the disease spreading to other organs in the body. So this vaccine was developed by 2 drug companies, Merck, also known as MSD, and Moderna, and it was given to these patients who had this very high-risk melanoma after they'd had surgery. Now, we're talking about very, very early results here, but those results seem to show that this new jab extended the length of time that these patients were cancer-free. However, it's unclear for how long they remained cancer-free because, as I say, it's very early days. But cancer experts say this is a breakthrough, it's good news, but also that we should be a little bit cautious because the full results haven't been made public and they haven't been peer-reviewed, and that means independent experts haven't had a chance really to examine them or to check if the trial findings actually stack up.
Dominic Hughes there. Well, this is being called a personalised vaccine because it's designed to target each patient's individual tumour. But unlike traditional jabs, it's given to people who have already been diagnosed with melanoma. Oncologist Elizabeth Buchbinder from Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston has been explaining what makes it so personalised.
This is going to be entirely person-specific, and even beyond that, it's tumor-specific. So if somebody develops a second melanoma, this wouldn't work on that second melanoma. So it's really about that cancer. It's super personalized therapy where, you know, what works for one person couldn't be given to another because it's all about what has changed, what's different about that tumor, and basically just getting the immune system to recognize those changes.
But how do researchers create a vaccine that is unique to each patient? Well, here's Peter Johnson, National Clinical Director for Cancer at NHS England.
What we do is we take a sample of somebody's cancer, we analyse all the mutations within that cancer that have developed as it's been developing itself, and we can look at those and relate them to the person's tissue type and work out which ones will be visible to the immune system. And then we can drop those into one of these messenger RNA vaccines, the same sort that we used against COVID. But instead of vaccinating somebody against COVID, we're vaccinating them against the particular mutations in the cancer that they've had.
So every vaccine has to be made specifically for the patient who's receiving it. Now that increases costs, of course, and creates hurdles around manufacturing and distribution. Here's Dr. Ryan Sullivan, Director at the Centre for Melanoma at Mass General Brigham Cancer Institute.
You know, it's not trivial to make thousands of vaccines that are personalized. Like when they were mass producing COVID vaccines, didn't matter if I got your COVID vaccine or you got my COVID vaccine because it was the same. It matters if I get your vaccine and you get my vaccine. We got the wrong drug, right? Like, so because it's an individualized drug, there has to be much more strict criteria in terms of making sure that the handling of samples is that we know what sample is whose.
Well, while it's clear there are still research, regulatory and production challenges ahead, the announcement has already had an impact beyond the world of medicine. In the United States, shares for Moderna and Merck, that's the companies behind the vaccine, have surged after the final results were made public. Moderna's stock jumped 177% on Thursday, while Merck saw its shares rise by about 12%. So, as we've heard, the vaccine is promising, but there's still a long road ahead before patients could receive it. Back to our global health correspondent, Dominic Hughes.
So what we're talking about here are the very early results of what's known as a phase 3 trial. Now, this is generally the third of 4 phases when a drug might be tested on hundreds or even thousands of people across multiple different sites, and they're looking to confirm how effective the drug is, whether there are any side effects, and how it compares with existing treatments that are already out there. So even though cancer experts say this is definitely a breakthrough, this is good news, there is that element of caution as well, because they say the full results haven't yet been released or peer reviewed, so those independent experts haven't been able to examine and check these trial findings. And even after this trial process has finished, the treatment then still needs to be approved by various medicines regulators around the world. And then in the UK, for example, it needs to go through another process before it's approved for use on the NHS. So that all could take months, probably years. And just to give you an idea, moving from phase 1 of the trial of a medicine to final approval, that can take anywhere between 5 and 8 years, and sometimes much longer than that.
Dominic Hughes, and that's brought you up to date on the latest on personalised cancer vaccines.